nearly 50 years, our next guest has worked as a former land claims negotiator, broadcaster, diplomat, and civil servant. In 2021, she was named Canada's Governor General.
And she joins us in studio today to talk about her work. Governor General Mary Simon, welcome. All right, so Governor General, you've been at this job for just over 2 years, right? But you've been in the political world for decades. Tell me, what was the biggest adjustment or the biggest surprise in this role?
The biggest adjustment, I think, was to just come back to Ottawa and start a new job.
Yeah.
And it felt very much like a continuation of the work I had done over the last 40-some years, because it's about the people of Canada. And it's about bringing people together and finding ways to explore relationships between different cultures and peoples. And I find it very inspiring to be able to do that in this job. So
Beautiful.
I was very happy to be appointed.
Yeah. Any surprises?
Not too many, because I had already been an ambassador, so I was pretty much aware of the diplomacy side and the way things were done. So that part wasn't a huge surprise. The big surprise was the huge house I live in. Rideau Hall.
Yeah, Rideau Hall.
I live upstairs.
Wow. Well, you're Canada's first Indigenous Governor General, born in Nunavut, with a career that has centered on the North and shaping policy for the Arctic and the Inuit. So while your job is apolitical, you can offer counsel to the Prime Minister. So what are the urgent needs and priorities in the North that you've been talking to him about?
The issues that are being faced in the North are similar to the issues that are faced in other parts of the country. People are very concerned about the way services are delivered, healthcare, just education, and to improve those services so that there's some equality in terms of providing services, even in remote regions of the country. So in the North, the Inuit population, which is in Nunavut and in Nunavik and Northern Labrador, Nunatsiavut, and Western Arctic is Inuvialuit. They have very big concerns about how much it costs to live in the North, because it's triple or even more than the cost of living in other parts of the country. So those are just some very serious ongoing issues that people are facing.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so you are also bilingual. You speak English and Inuktitut. Did I say that correctly?
Yes.
All right, good. All right, and in your first speech, you said that you had the intention to learn French. That being said, the Quebec Superior Court will hear a case challenging your right to hold your position because you don't currently speak French fluently. So what have these complaints illuminated to you about the state of language preservation in this country?
Well, first of all, I think languages are an important part of every one of us. Each of us have our own languages from our culture and our background. So I was bilingual when I took the appointment. But when I was going to school in the early years, I went to a federal day school in our community that didn't allow us to speak our Inuktitut language at school, but only English. And even though I come from the northern tip of Quebec, there was no French offered in any of the schools that we had. And therefore, it wasn't available to, like, my age group and older. Now it is available, but not in those days. So that's partly why I never really learned the language. The thing, though, is that when I was appointed, I made a commitment to learn the language, French, and I'm going to be trilingual at my age.
Wonderful. That's incredible.
And I'm very serious about learning the language, and I have a tutor, and after working hours, I take my lessons 3 times a week.
Wow.
So I can start to converse a little bit in French, short sentences, mind you, because it's only been a little over a year.
You're learning.
And it's a difficult language,
Yeah.
but I am learning. My tutor says I'm doing great.
Good stuff.
Governor General, earlier this year, you closed down all the comments on your social media after being hit with waves of hateful remarks. And I know that was a difficult decision to make, but I also know there was part of you that probably expected some. So what was sort of, not the final straw, but what pushed you to make that decision?
It was a series of things. I think you're right, online hate and misogynistic comments are well known. I've been through some of it to some degree, but not as a person in this high position. But I've always been very aware of how it affects everybody. So when it started to happen to me, I was really kind of afraid in some ways because I wasn't sure what was going to happen. And at one point, when the comments started to become very personal and point to my indigenous culture and that I was a woman, I talked to our team and we said we were going to shut the comments down and just leave our platforms with the work that we were doing without anybody being able to comment. So that's how we dealt with it. But personally, what I said to myself and the team, I'm going to talk about this publicly, because if I'm silent about it as a leader in this country, then we'll never be able to bring it out into the open and deal with it. So that's what I'm doing.
Yes. Wonderful. Now, as Governor General, you are a representative of the Crown in Canada, and over the last few years, we've seen a shift in the attitude towards the monarchy, and especially since the passing of the Queen, that attitude has become even more negative. So I'm just wondering, how do you see the role of Governor General evolving in the future?
I look at it from the perspective that I was appointed to do a job, and it's a 5-year mandate. And it's my role to work with Canadians and the King, Charles III, to keep our country as strong as it can be, because we are very much a country that is democratic, and it's a very positive way of governing for Canada. And we'd like to keep it very strong that way. So that my role as a representative of the King is to ensure that our relationship with all Canadians are strong, and we work together to build a strong country together. And Indigenous people are working very hard to renew their relationship with the Crown. Of course, the King has evolved over time, and he's been to Canada many times, and he's very, very fond of Canada, and would love to come back, and he probably will.
He probably will.
But of course, Queen Elizabeth held that reign for 70 years, and it was a long term, and it did evolve when she passed on to a new king. So things do change, but they evolve, and hopefully we're evolving into a better place. Everybody's entitled to their own comments on how the country is run, but I think that democratically we have a strong country. We don't have really an issue because we elect our government. You know, it's an elected government, so. And it's the people's government. So this is something that I work with as an apolitical person. Like you said, I have a way of conversing with the Prime Minister to talk to him about issues that he may or may not be aware of. But I think we have a very strong federation.
Absolutely.
Governor General, perfect words to end on. Thank you so much for giving us here today. Hey there, what did you think? Drop your comments below and join the conversation. And don't forget to like and subscribe so you can find more on everything from food and fashion to pop culture and current events. See you soon.